Raise your hand. We'll get rolling. Dave Matter.
Cuonzo, once you got a chance to watch that game and talk to the team, what's kind of the overall message or some things you really want to get across to them after the Ole Miss game?
One of our defensive coverages that we spent a lot of time on, we didn't do a great job on that. That was the biggest thing. I thought we did a good job against that zone, moving the ball, getting good looks. I thought we should have been more aggressive at trying to pound the ball inside the Jeremiah, even though he's being double, because you had opportunity to score the ball. And then with that being said, the guys that are supposed to be the dive guys when he's receiving double teams and that sort of thing got to get down there. We hadn't had live ball turnovers in a long time. We had a couple against Alabama. We had live ball turnovers that were costly. And I think by giving them guys comfort, they were making tough shots look easy by giving them comfort. And now you got yourself a ball game.
Mitch.
Cuonzo, obviously one of the big differences in Arkansas now between when you played him last is Justin Smith is back on the court. I guess just how does he kind of, or what does he add for them?
I like him. Energy, 6'7", almost maybe 6'8", 230 pounds, plays with energy, plays hard. And at that time, he was the best rebounder on the team. Can defend the 4 and the 5 positions. Good off the dribble slashing. Doesn't shoot a lot of threes, but doesn't have bad technique or form. But I like his aggression. I like his nature. I like his energy on the floor. I do.
Gabe Yarman.
You guys had gone a long time without giving up 80, and now it's been 3 times in 4 games. What's the common thread that you've seen defensively looking at those games?
I think the biggest thing, just protecting the lane. Protecting the lane. That's the biggest thing. Protecting, and then with defense outside all your techniques is pride. Don't get so comfortable. I think sometimes we get comfortable with scoring baskets, and that feels good. And when you don't have a defensive nature in you outside of whatever your system is, then all of a sudden where we're scoring, so that's okay. Well, we got to get stops. We're a defensive-minded team. We just happen to get the ball to the floor more. But I just think it's one pride and just keeping the ball out of the lane. And it comes back to pride.
Mike Reeves.
Coach, I'm kind of curious, is what's happening in SEC play more a product of how good the league is, or is it inconsistencies from your guys' perspective, a combination of the two?
Well, I think the league is always good. I just think what happens is there's probably a couple of things. I just think how you get up and down for games, home, road. I mean, that plays a factor. Who feeds off energy or who needs no energy. I just think however the game flows. I mean, you're making shots, you're making plays. I think every player responds differently, and you never know what's going on to the day-to-day as far as who's been out of practice, who's in practice, who's dealing with this. I mean, personal issue. You never know those things, and those have always been factors. But obviously, you pay close attention to that, and it mainly because of COVID and other things take place. But no, I think that around the country there have been more road wins this year than probably any other year, and I think that's because you don't have to deal with the crowd atmospheres on the road.
Bill Pollock.
Yeah, good morning, Cuonzo. Is there a set number of touches you would like Jeremiah to get in the game? Is it something you track, or is it just kind of the flow of how things work?
Not necessarily touches for him, but we talk about how many times we want to get the ball in the paint. And the paint is, of course, you have actions to get him the ball in the post. But for us, getting the ball in the paint is post feeds. And 90% of the time it might be Jeremiah, but it can be other guys. But post feeds, offensive rebounds, and dribble penetration in the paint. So all 3 of those things, we look at those numbers, yes, but not necessarily, okay, we got to give them the ball 17 times, 18 times, because what we found in the past, we become very stagnant when that's the focus of trying to just get the ball inside. Now guys aren't moving and aren't flowing like they need to.
Eric.
Cuonzo, I know you always preach just, you move on to the next game, you can't worry about the past, but how imperative is it just to get back out on the court and just get past the on-court side of what happened on Wednesday and move forward, further away from a performance I know you're not happy with?
However you lose a game, I mean, whether you lose a game at the buzzer, those are probably more painful than the other ones. I mean, just for me, it's you lost a game, you address how and why, and then you move forward. But I just think what I've found with young players nowadays, I mean young meaning college players, you can't harp on that so long that it affects you in the next game. You just can't do it. You got to address what needs to be addressed. The players that feel what they need to feel, they understand that part. But I don't think you can beat that all day long and all of a sudden you can't get to the next game and you lose that one as well. But you got to address it and you got to move on.
Sweetie.
Because, well, yeah, after the game, I know you said some guys didn't show up. I guess with those guys, not to name them or anything, but it's just how do you address that? How do you go about, talking to them?
I've never been one to say this guy, that guy. It's not that, but just your effort has to be better. And for me, it never has to do with the ball going to the rim, and that your effort has to be better. Defensive effort has to be better. You got to be tougher in certain areas. That sort of thing, and that's been the case in some wins. So it's not, but you have to do that because whether or not your shot is falling, you have to be able to defend, rebound, and play off. You owe that to your teammates. Even if you don't have it for yourself, you owe that to your teammates to do those things.
Dave Meyer.
Cuonzo, in the past, when Xavier's had a rough game, he's been, at least with us, he's been pretty quick to recognize where he got out of sorts and wasn't aggressive enough. Or in this case, what was the message to him and how did he kind of recognize where his game was off?
Well, I mean, for me, the message for him is always the same. You have to play hard. You have to try to play as hard as you can play. You have to get downhill and be aggressive. Because again, if he's East-West and he was East-West a lot in that game, you saw the results of it. And obviously one player that we lose as a team, win and lose as a team. But you got to get downhill, be aggressive, and put pressure on the other team's defense. But if it's going side to side, now all of a sudden we don't move like we need to move because when this happens. And that's how it normally works. And just really being aggressive. And then I think the other thing with him, just take personal pride in those assignments on defense. So what I've said to him, I've said it before, so it's not as if I'm saying something new.
Gabe.
Because you have so many veteran guys, do you approach the days after a loss like that any differently? Because I mean, do you find that they kind of know how to handle it and know what they did wrong more than a team full of freshmen and sophomores might?
Well, I think you always have to address it. You have to. You have to acknowledge certain situations. But also, when you say veteran, and in my opinion, often veteran means guys that battle tested, played a lot of minutes, heavy rotation. You don't have a lot of guys that have been in a lot of heavy minutes, game situations, critical times. I mean, they may be old and experienced as far as age and numbers, but veteran for me is guys that have been in the trenches and battle tested, won battles on the road. You've done it, so now we just flow with it. But we also still have guys trying to play a lot of minutes. And then, again, not to say the reason why we lost that game, but you also have guys that continue to play together. Now you got a different number in front of your name. Teams approach you differently, man. You have to go out there with your hard hat on and play at a high level because for them, that's a big game. And you have to approach it the same way. So I think all those things, it's important. But even if I find, even with experienced guys, you don't go over it, you'll pay for it.
Chase.
Good morning, Coach. As you probably know, this weekend is the Rally for Ryan game. It's a campaign that's been going on since 2016. What does it mean to you and kind of the team to keep this tradition going?
I think it's important to keep it going, especially when you're raising money for pediatric cancer. I think that is very important. And Coach Luce and his family has done a tremendous job of carrying that torch. And I respect it, and hopefully it stays here.
Eric.
Kind of following off of that, I think you only have one guy left on the team that was around when Brad was coaching, and that's Mitch. And no so uncertain terms last year. Reed Nico basically just told us we don't lose this game. He said that multiple times to us. How has Mitch's kind of message been to the team about what the Rally for Ryan game means?
Well, I'm not sure about that in the locker room, but it's not as if we talked about it because we just got back. We had a practice, yesterday, so it wasn't a topic of conversation. But I would imagine he'll help the guys understand the importance of that, but also just protecting your home court.
Anything else for Coach? All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.